Well, while the dairy industry started the year with some big wins, individual producers, they are facing financial hardship. Supply and demand hurdles, they are resulting in lower prices and margins, leaving many looking for approaches for assistance. Alan Bjerga with the National Milk Producers Federation joins us now for an update. Alan, always a pleasure to have you join us. So, big wins for dairy lately, but there are financial challenges currently facing dairy farmers. Why are we seeing this?
What you've been seeing, and it's really just something that's been happening in the last 3 to 4 months, is a dramatic shift in the supply-demand balance. That's really been hurting milk prices. We saw late last year the Dairy Margin Coverage Program, which pays farmers when margins fall below a certain level. That did its first only payout of 2025. But now with USDA forecasts coming out, into the first half of the year and possibly beyond, we're going to be in a DMC payout situation. That means we really have to be thinking about ways to help farmers get through the current imbalance. The Dairy Margin Coverage Program has sign up now for the rest of the month. We're encouraging farmers to sign up for that. That's an immediate thing that farmers can do to help their balance sheets. We're also looking at other ways that we may be able to use policy levers to assist farmers during what are admittedly difficult times.
So let's talk about next steps, turning these priorities into policy. There's a lot happening right now. Of course, you mentioned the help there for farmers, but let's talk about the priorities into policy. What are we looking at?
Well, one thing you can do is you can build on some of these wins that dairy has had in recent months. When you take a look at the Whole Milk for Healthy Kids Act, putting whole and 2% milk back in schools, when you look at the encouragement of dairy in the dietary guidelines, this gives you a lot of opening for a lot of tools that you can use. For example, on whole milk, that would absorb a lot of butterfat and really help if it were to get into schools. But, as we've spoken about before, there's a lot of logistics involved in that. And part of that is school budgets, frankly. Whole milk does cost a little bit more than lower fat varieties. We'd love to see the government use some of its funding that is available to help schools encourage the purchase of whole milk to put it in. I think that would be great for kids and families, and it would certainly help dairy farmers as well. Another thing you're taking a look at, that safety net. Remember, I was talking about DMC. There's also the Dairy Revenue Protection Program. That also helps farmers manage their risk. It's available to farmers of all sizes of operations. We think there's probably some room that the USDA can look creatively from there. And then the other thing is simply commodity purchases, right? When butter prices are low, when cheese prices are low, when you take a look at lower milk prices, the government can be a buyer that can stimulate market demand. If you saw government purchases simply rebound to levels they were early this decade, not even surpassing them, you can make a real meaningful difference in milk prices for dairy farmers and a real help for farmers to get through this stretch, which is a little challenging right now.
Absolutely. Always a lot of opportunity there for sure. Great information, Alan. Always a pleasure. Alan Bjerga with the National Milk Producers Federation.